Hi, Kristen Solomon, Court Liaison Advocate with Right Turn Impact. Today I'm with the Law Office of Cochrane and Chhabra, here to meet with Mandeep Chhabra, criminal defense attorney located in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm excited to go inside and talk with him and learn more about him and his practice, and to see why he trusts Right Turn for his clients. Let's get inside and warm up and talk with him.
Hi, Christine. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Come on into my office.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Make yourself at home.
Thank you.
My name is Mandeep Chhabra. I'm an attorney in Annapolis, Maryland with Cochrane and Chhabra. We've been anchored in Annapolis since 1970 when my partner Gil Cochrane started this practice here. We run a boutique criminal defense practice. We also do some personal injury law. Our mainstay is a DUI defense. We do anything from the first-time DUI all the way up to serious situations where people are unfortunately killed as a result of a drunk driver. I've been doing this for over 25 years. And so criminal defense actually chose me. I worked for my former partner, Gil, when I was at the beginning of college in through law school. And every lawyer's dream, I think, is to be this top-level executive lawyer sitting behind a big desk and in a big office building. And when I started working for Gil, I started seeing how much he impacted individuals. Gil emphasized in all of us that it was really important to get our clients back on track. Most of them have fallen off track with the use and abuse of drugs and alcohol. So I really found that to be compelling. I wanted people to get better. There's nothing better than getting a hug from somebody in the middle of the street who's sober because you helped them get sober and clean. And that's happened to me multiple times. So it really gives you warm fuzzies and makes you feel like you're making a difference rather than pushing paper all day long. It's interesting, when I finished law school, I asked Gil what he thought, because I was thinking about moving to New York or staying in Boston. And he told me, if you want to be one of those big wig lawyers, that's fine. But if you want to do what I do and get your hands dirty, you should come here. And that sealed the deal. It was just more of those things where I wanted to share the message that he was cultivating within the community. Now, I don't want it to make it sound like we're just here to help people to get sober. We fight really, really hard for our clients. And that was part of the experience that drew me in. Going into court, being prepared for trial, getting ready to ask questions. For instance, yesterday I had a case in another county and I had 90 cross-examined questions prepared. And I went in there and the state's attorney agreed with my interpretation of the case and they let it go. I do this work to help people. I see a big change in clients. Now, unfortunately, we do have clients that come back, and I feel really guilty when they come back. I don't want to have a client be a revolving door into my office. And I tell the younger clients that all the time. Sometimes I miss the mark, and I can't see that this is not a typical first offense where somebody has just gone to happy hour and made the mistake of having one too many and getting behind the wheel. Hopefully that's a one and done, but unfortunately sometimes it's not. So what happens is you find ways to relate to the client. And in relating to the client in that fashion helps them get back on track. My clients have my cell phone number and I answer it 24/7. They text me, they call me, weekends, nights, whole thing. That type of compassion that I have for those people really helps me get to them. For instance, when I was walking in for our meeting today, I was talking to a client who's unfortunately in his third offense and his world is crumbling around him. He's afraid he's going to lose his family. And, just talking to him and helping him off a ledge, if it were, really helps them. And it helps me be not just an attorney, but also a counselor to them. I wish that people understood that people that are in these kinds of troubles don't choose to be drug addicts or alcoholics. Those are a lot of times genetic factors. and they have anxiety and depression, and they're self-medicating. You can't judge a book by its cover. Just because they got pulled over and had an accident or blew a .24, which is very, very high, that's not defining for them. There's more to it than just that story line that you see on the face. These people have families, they have really good jobs, they have security clearances, they have all kinds of mechanisms that would keep them straight, but they also suffer from this genetic component of addiction. And that's what they're trying to address, because they're anxious and depressed, and they use a depressant like alcohol to make it worse. I spend a lot of time with my clients. My typical interview with clients can take, depending on the type of case, anywhere from 15 minutes to 3 hours. And building that trust is really important. You have to understand the bigger makeup of a client. Also, I've offered to take people home. After court, they don't have a license, I'll drive them home. That builds confidence and trust. I do it out of the goodness of my heart. I don't do it with any expectations, but it's really important for people to kind of relate that you are a person. You're not just this person wearing a suit and talking gobbledygook to a judge comfortably. So it's really important to have that compassion for individuals.
Is there a story that stays with you?
Well, the story about the guy giving me a hug stays with me. It will stay with me for life. I had a client in the last 5 years who was involved in an auto manslaughter. The guy had the picture perfect life. He had a great job, high earning, 2 kids in private school, a wonderful marriage, great wife, very supportive. On his way home from the country club one day, he hit somebody, a construction worker, and killed them. This individual, this client, has done so much to give back to the community. He finally got a hold on the fact that he did have a problem. He didn't accept it when I first met him. I met him in jail and he didn't accept that he had an alcohol problem. But as he started working it, and he did serve time in jail because he killed somebody, but as he started working it, you see how great he's done to recover from it. Unfortunately, he still doesn't have a license, but he's back on top of the world doing his job, being supportive of his daughters who are ready to go off to college at this point, and he's really put it back together. But the key in that is he gives back. He goes back and talks to groups. He hosts 12-step meetings. He goes back to the treatment program that he was in. He does a lot of things to give back to the community, which really is impressive. So this guy who was at the top of his career got knocked to lower than rock bottom, if you can imagine that, and has built himself way back up even after being out of jail for only a couple years at this point. There's sometimes that people don't think that they have a problem with alcohol or drugs. And it takes a while to get them to the point where they understand that their life is crumbling around them based on these addictive personalities. It doesn't have to be alcohol or drugs. I'm limiting to that because that's what gets them in trouble. We have people that ban themselves from the casinos that we have in Maryland and then end up going back and get charged with trespassing. Those are the people that don't want to admit that they have an issue, and it takes a little bit longer. So that's why my meetings sometimes could take as short as 15 minutes. But depending on the client, the client wants it in and out. I respect that. They're busy people. But the ones that are willing to talk to me and are willing to hear me out, they do the best. So those are the situations where I don't judge them. There's no judgment in what we do in this world. Basically, what happens is I have to kind of get to the crux of the issue. It is very common that it is somebody that went to happy hour or to a party and made the mistake of getting behind the wheel. That happens every day. But there are instances where you have repeat offenders or people that are drinking and driving on a daily basis and just happen to get caught that one time. So that's what you want to get to the bottom of, is are they habitual drinkers? Do they have a drink? So I ask those questions to probe them. How many times a week do you drink? When you drink, do you drink to the point where you're feeling the buzz? Those kinds of things. Those are important to understand. Or was it just that situation where you went to a party or happy hour with your coworkers? I wanted to say classmates because that happens too. With your coworkers, and you just had too many beers or an extra glass of wine or one extra martini, and that put you over the legal limit. But you're not a bad person. You're not an addict. You're not one of those people that has an issue. But you definitely need help navigating this circumstance. A second chance is what the legislature has set up in Maryland to allow people that are on first-time offenses to avoid a conviction on your record. That's the legal definition of, in my opinion, of a second chance. A second chance in my world is giving people the opportunity to recover from the mistake that they made. And we can often do that.
What are the strengths and weaknesses of the justice system?
Well, inconsistency is a huge weakness. So the problem with that is there are a lot of attorneys that do what we do that think it's simple and easy. And they just don't know how to read the trier of fact, a judge or a jury. So what happens is if you don't know what your judge or jury is expecting of you, from you, or your client's facts, it can create a huge inequality. So the problem is that I can go to court on one day and get a judge who I know likes things done a certain way, and next day I have a judge who likes things a different way. If as an attorney, I don't know those personalities, there's going to be a very unequal result for that same client. So the same person in front of one judge will have a totally different result in front of another judge. I find that to be an inequality or a problem in the justice system. If there was a little bit more consistency, it would be helpful. I'm great at recognizing problems. I don't know how to fix the problems because it's really tough being a judge. You hear the same stuff day in and day out. So I respect that. But at the same time, I find that judges that know me and the way we do business, they already know that we've done everything possible to have the client adjust their personality, their attitude, how they're handling this, based on the fact that we are representing them. Because I have high expectations of my clients. I give them a playbook. I tell them if they follow my playbook, they will be okay. Okay is a different perspective for each person that's analyzing that. Okay, maybe not having jail, not having record, or it could be to minimize their exposure to jail or having a conviction on their record.
How does Annapolis shape your work?
Well, we're anchored in Annapolis, and what we mean by that is we are very rooted in this community. Our office has been in the same place for over 45, maybe 50 years at this point. So people know where we are, okay? We also are one block from the circuit court and within a mile from the district court. So that really helps us being able to maneuver cases in Anne Arundel County very quickly. Annapolis is the capital for the state of Maryland. It plays a big role in it. Annapolis is a huge boating community, and we do a lot of cases involving alcohol on the water. So there's a lot of benefits of being in the capital. We also have a very good connection to judicial system because the head of the top level judiciary is here. So, you know, it's part of the nomenclature for Anne Arundel County and Annapolis.
Will you share with us Gil Cochrane's influence on you and your practice?
Absolutely. Gil was very proud to say that he was an alcoholic and he was recovering, and he took it one day at a time. All those key words that you hear in 12-step programs, he adhered to them. He found that because he had a problem with alcohol and was sober for over 50 years, that it helped him remain sober by seeing people's demise as a result of using alcohol. Now, I'm fortunate enough not to have that gene. I can stop when I'm having a drink or two. I don't have to keep going, which is a major problem with a lot of people. I didn't understand the component of genetic addiction. And Gil pounded it into my head that this is not a choice for people. They don't choose to do this. This is just what happens to them as a result of their genetic makeup.
Why Right Turn Impact?
Right Turn Impact is, one, a great program because it allows people to continue their day-to-day lives by participating in the program on evenings, weekends. They schedule around you. That's important to me because people have lives that they have to keep going. So, you know, even though they have options of, Right Turn has options of inpatient programs, long-term inpatient programs, their weekend program is one of the best in the state. And it's recognized by the courts. There's not one judge out there that doesn't know what Right Turn Impact is. And that plays a big role. Moreover, the fact that Right Turn Impact has a lot of people that suffer from the same afflictions that our clients do, it really resonates with them because they can get to the bottom of it all. It's not like there's people that don't understand that they're just doing a job. The Right Turn Impact staff is very committed to making sure this doesn't happen again, just like I am. Moreover, the organization that Right Turn Impact has in terms of the binders that they suggest that clients put together. I had a client last night ask me about the binder. He hadn't done it yet, and he asked me how important it was. And I said, you did Right Turn Impact. If you don't finish it, it's like not finishing a homework assignment. It's very, very important because it shows your commitment to the program. So people come in with these 1-inch binders with all the facts that they've done the program, their aftercare program, their AA meetings or their self-help group meetings, their group sessions. And it really makes an impact when I can hand this beautifully presented binder. No other program in the state of Maryland, in my opinion, does it like Right Turn does it. Right Turn Impact has this wonderful program where they send advocates, liaisons to court. The liaisons play a big role because a lot of those liaisons have been in the shoes of the clients that we represent. And the judges, even though they may know exactly what that liaison is going to say, they want to hear it over and over again because I don't think the liaisons allow people to get away with just faking it. So that's a huge part of Right Turn Impact's influence long term. Also, a Right Turn has this wonderful alumni program where if you're in their group, if you've been accepted into the core group there's a lot of support. So people that had the bad days, they know they can call one of 10, 15, 20 people that they met through Right Turn, and that really helps them keep on path. Right Turn Impact, one, has been around forever, as far back as I can remember. The entire program is very willing to work with people. For instance, you guys run a 48-hour weekender program, which I think is great. But when I have a client that works weekends, I can have them call and talk to somebody at Right Turn and say, I work weekends, can I come during the week? And they work it out. If there's a problem, for instance, financially, if there's an issue there, Right Turn always finds a way to help people. And that's really important, that we can all figure out ways to help people that are in need. I think that the biggest misconception about defense attorneys is that we are just up there dealing with making deals on people's lives. And that's totally inaccurate. It may seem like that because we're jovial, we're friendly, we go to lunch and have dinners with the prosecutors and the judges occasionally. It happens, but it's not the daily routine. You know, it's one of those things where everybody thinks that this is just a game of you pay the most expensive and best lawyer and he's going to get you the result. It's not about that. It really has a lot to do with how much homework we do on each one of our cases. You know, nowadays, body cam footage plays a huge role in how we're going to handle a case. Well, that's hours of time. The lawyers that are out there that are not going to put the time in are going to make it seem like it's all about wheeling and dealing. We go up there, we have a quick conversation with the prosecutor, and it seems like, oh, it's hocus pocus and it went away, or the result was what laid out. A good defense attorney will have a rapport with the client to make sure the client knows where the case is and what's going on with the case. The defense attorney will have a rapport with the prosecutor and a rapport with the judge, so that when they come in, they know that this attorney is going to be prepared and they're going to put us through all of the trials and tribulations of handling this case properly. The misconception is that anybody can do our job, and that's not the case. It's very important to have relationships. Defining moment is when a client who, quote unquote, what they say, gets off, walks away from a charge, and they say to you, although you did a great job and got me out of this, you changed the course of my life. And that's the defining moment for a client to say, I'm never going to do this again. And that can be anyone from, you know, the postman to the construction worker that you don't pay attention to the server that's giving you your dinner at night. If once they recognize that they have to make a change in their life, that's the defining moment. And if you can help them get there, it makes your life as a defense attorney so much more, fulfilling. Success, most people would say it's winning a case. It's not. It's the turnaround. It's seeing that it's not going to happen again. That to me is success. My final takeaway is that You cannot treat everyone that walks through the door the same way. Everybody has different things that make them tick. I can't always say that I can send them to right turn, or they're going to be fine just going to 12-step, or they're going to be fine going to an online program. There's so much more depth to each one of our cases. Now, if the person is willing to put in the time, I would love for every one of my clients to spend a weekend at Right Turn. It would be great for them. Even if they don't need the aftercare services, I think being in that position of seeing that there's other people in the same boat as me, and I think Right Turn does a really good job with sharing that people aren't alone. Because a lot of times people that are in these situations that have been brought to their knees by these circumstances, that think that this does define them, they don't realize that every other person out there has a similar problem. They just handle it differently.